Hey everybody, Will Roberts here, of course, Lights, Camera,
Ready.
AI. So today I'm very excited. I have a couple of guests. I don't normally have this many. I feel like I have a whole room of experts and people in the industry. So, I'm going to go first things first. I've got on my left, I have Gary. I'm Jerry. I said Gary. Jerry. I said Gary V, so I got confused. Jerry,
It's
who
all
is
good.
an awesome actor, and she'll tell you her Instagram and all that fun stuff so we can get that moving and grooving. I've got this team down below, which I know days from now they're going to wind up being like the whatever brothers. And they're going to be like, oh, those guys, I want to work with them. And so I wish I could say it just because I don't actually. I got Julian and so
Darian.
both of you introduce yourselves, folks.
I'm Julian. Yeah, and I'm Darian, and we run Slabtown Studios.
Yes, Slabtown Studios. And by the way, we will talk about this because there's an awesome project that you are doing that I think I might be involved in. And on top of that, the reason why I specifically want to do this today is because you are approaching your model about how to do this like no others. I mean, there's a very few people in the industry. I used to talk to people all the time about the business of show business because most performers and creatives don't understand that the word business isn't show business. And the way that you're approaching this, I was extremely impressed, by the way, with the script and all the different things you've done with it. And then you started talking about the approach, and I'm just blown away by what you're doing. But by the way, the script's awesome. And uh, I'm just telling you, it's going to be pretty cool. So, with that being said, let's launch right straight into it. First of all, it, just asking about the film itself. Tell us a little bit about the background about the film.
Yeah, from like a how we came across this project, or
Sure.
yeah. So we worked at Stable Ranch up in Santa Clarita. There's a lot of old film ranches that aren't really getting used a lot, so
Yeah.
it's become kind of a breeding ground for the indie scene in Los
Hmm.
Angeles. We're seeing a lot of small production companies go over there, take advantage of the beautiful property, the old um, Western towns, all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And since working there, we've connected a lot with the ranch, connected with the owners, and connected with some of the producers
Filmmakers,
there.
yeah.
And we came across the Hellburger script, which
Hmm.
is just this amazing, bloody, comedic, over the top slasher. And we are like, this is gold right here. So we
Yeah.
have to produce it.
Yeah, it all started on another horror feature that we were just helping get made on at
Hmm.
Table Ranch with our friends at Peacemaker International. Like they do indie films as well. And so Brian Bernard was the director and writer and lead producer of that film. And when we were helping him, we kind of started giving him some ideas for marketing, and
Hmm.
they're kind of starting asking some questions about distribution since we have two films in distribution right now. We were able to
Hmm.
give them some insight on what we found is helpful. And so we said, they sent us the Hellburger script, and we were like, this sounds super fun, like
Hmm.
definitely different of what we've done before, and definitely the direction we want to go in as filmmakers in our career and in our production company.
Hmm.
So we thought like let's absolutely jump on just as producers. And so what happened was we created the pitch deck, we gave some feedback on the script, and Brian said, it looks like you guys understand the vision.
Yeah.
Why don't you guys direct it? And so
Wow.
he
Yeah.
offered that over lunch one time, and we were like,
Yeah.
how can we pass that up?
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at now.
Well, I again, I have to commend you because this industry is it can be mistaken. And Jerry, I'm getting to you soon because I want to see your involvement in what you're
You're
doing.
good. You
Yeah.
guys are chilling.
All right, good. But again, the problem with our industry, and I've been doing this for 35 plus years, is that it's not your father's industry anymore. This is not a matter of like you're going to go like I'm going to create a script and I'm going to go out there and get the money and do what I'm doing, and I hope to God, because I meet a lot of people that want to do this, and I get a lot of phone calls and I get a lot of direct messages going, Will, I know you know this. Can you tell me about the distribution? Can you help me out? And I think a lot of people get out of the starting gate and they don't have a clue of any of the pre-production business that involves that, because when you're really talking about this, and again, I think the vision and the graphics and everything you've done, and I'm super excited by it because there's a lot of levels to it. And then when I did audition, I was like, excuse my French, I was like, fuck, this is like got some, I can go places with this role. And you all agreed and you went, yeah, dude, do that. And I was, like, I'm throwing the Southern dude down. I'm going to be a big evangelist. And they're like, oh, this is cool. But the cool thing about this is again, what other people are not doing is that the walk and the talk. And when you're asking people, I don't give a shit if you're asking people to donate or put in $5 or 500,000 or 5 million. If you don't know where you're going and how they can invest their money and do what they're going to do, and they can see an ROI, or they're just rich enough to go, I love this vision, show me the numbers, then you're done. You're just wasting your time. Go do a fundraiser, and I don't know what to tell you. But again, the fact that you just explained what you did is pretty monumental. But I'm going to move on to Jerry. Jerry, let's talk about your involvement in the film. I know that you are definitely an actor. How did you come about this? I know you have quite a past with this type of genre. Tell us a little bit about you, how you got involved.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me on. I'm excited to
Yeah.
be here. Yeah, so I'm an actor, and as you've been saying multiple times, we all have to wear so many hats, and I've been creating my own work for, I don't know, over a decade since I've been in LA. So I'm also a producer, director. I do a lot of voiceover, and I create a lot of my own content. So with a friend of mine, Harley Bronwyn, who is also involved in the film, we started a horror review TikTok earlier this year, just talking about reviewing different films and coming from, the standpoint of I'm a scaredy cat. I'm like scared of everything. Everything makes me cry. And then Harley is a scream queen who absolutely loves horror and watches it as her like safety blanket as she's going to sleep at night. And so we just thought that that was a fun dichotomy and juxtaposition of a way to approach it, and sort of there aren't a ton of women in the horror space in
Right.
that way. And so it felt like a really valuable angle to approach from. And then from there has sort of spiraled into more opportunities than I can actually even say right now, which has been really exciting. And I got connected with Z, who's also in the film at
Yeah.
Sundance last year. And as a side tangent of just being an actor and being proactive, I've been going to festivals for years and years. And I find that that's like one of the best ways to network and meet people and also learn about the industry and the ins and outs of what's coming up and what people are looking for, and get in the ground, like on the ground running with productions that are, in pre-production, and
Yeah.
where the zeitgeist is going. And so I met Z at Sundance, and then, as he started seeing us do the Horror Girls, we got a call, both Harley and I, to audition for the film. And yeah, I've done six different horrors. Harley and I have done six different films together. We're obsessed with the genre, even though I'm scared of it. I love it. I've done a ton of comedy for
That's
years
funny.
and years and years. And so, like, the combination of the two together feels really exciting. And, we've had a lot of meetings about the characters and about the women, and especially like expanding like what their roles are in this really juicy, exciting world. And yeah, it just feels really fun. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to play a rabid kind of killer,
Yeah.
eating, I won't give anything away, but
Yeah, there you go.
yeah, it feels like a really juicy, exciting role to jump into. And then, we came on before these two were involved. And yeah, I mean, hearing the model sounds really exciting. I think it's like, it's a cool challenge, I think, to also bring the story to fruition and
Mhm.
tell a really good story and an awesome movie, and then at the same time be able to create content and, viral content that can help promote the film. And I think it is a really interesting model, as I've also been out there trying to get financing for films for the past year, and hearing what people are saying. And so when you have actual evidence on the table of like this is what we can do and this
Right.
is our plan, it feels, yeah, it feels like we're being taken care of and that they're paving the path for essentially where we're already at and just
Right.
integrating that into the model of feature filmmaking.
Well, I have to commend you, Jerry, because I got to tell you that, how many times I get a call from a fellow actor, and I've got a bunch of other veteran actors that'll call me up and they go, and you know this as an actor, and if you guys don't know this, you're about to learn this, is that you get a call from an actor friend for two reasons. One, they want to ask you if you're doing anything that they can get work on, or two, they'll tell you about what they got cast on. Cool. Neither one of them I actually want the call about. But what I have to say is that I said this in the beginning of 2025. I'm like, and this is specifically for you, Jerry. Is I said, well, yeah, I know I shoot, I know I edit, I know I produce, I know I do, I know. So what are you gonna do on the project? Oh, I'm gonna be in it with you. It'll be great. And I'm like, okay, bye bye. But my point in saying that to you is that very few people in the industry in our positions as actors understand that you do have to know about if you're making content for TikTok, if you're making for Instagram, if you're making it for YouTube. You got to know about hooks, you got to know about thumbnails, you got to know about description. You
Mm-hmm.
got to know all these things, and obviously you do because I've looked at your stuff. It's awesome. The fact that you're doing it, to be honest with you, you're ahead by this would be ahead. You're ahead so much because most actors don't even get up in the morning. And then they wonder why they're not getting any shit, or they're like, why isn't my, I'll do the actor thing. Let me check my email. Let me check my email. Let me check my email, but they're not being proactive. So I commend you on that. And that's also one of the other reasons why it's exciting because one of the things involved in what Hellberger and your project, I love the fact that it zooms out. I do not have camera people here, but I'm just letting you know if I go like this, sometimes it'll go over there. If I go like this, anyway. But one of the exciting parts about this, and let's talk about this, is that your idea with Hellburger and being able to market it and put it out is not just a one trick pony. It's not a one off. It's that you're going, hey, we got hats, we got shirts, we got this, we got sequels. Let's talk about that because that's where the real money trail is that in this day and age when people are wondering, if right now if I talk about Audible, I know damn well I'm going to get an email from Audible. It's going to be on my Instagram, on the whatever. So let's talk about that and what your thoughts on that. Who is the genius that said we need to do that?
I mean, I think that was a combination. Can't pinpoint
Yeah,
it.
no, it definitely bounces back and forth. And I think a lot of it was even inspired by the talent we were working with. Like
Hmm.
when we saw what Jerry and Harley were doing, it really motivated us with like, oh, there's talent who already know how to engage this new market, engage people with the social media content to promote themselves, promote the project, because Hollywood may be changing, but the fundamental rule
Maybe?
is definitely changing.
Okay. I mean, you're a little late to the party if you think it's maybe.
The fundamental rule of your talent being your number one marketing vehicle hasn't changed. And
No.
you need talent who's willing to engage with social media and willing to engage with their specific subcultures and really kind of push the film out there.
Hmm.
And especially with brands and marketing and all that kind of stuff, like we're flooded with content. It's not about getting more eyeballs, it's about getting more engagement and
Yeah.
more interest. and
Yeah.
and that's what we're really trying to do with this film and all of our future films.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it came from an inspiration also from our previous projects where very different.
Hmm.
But we saw people come out and we hosted events like private screenings, or like we did the Hidden Creek
Hmm.
Gala. We had over 450 people show up, and seeing people interact and mingle and talk about their experiences with dementia, which is what the film was about.
Yeah.
That was really where we felt like this is where it's at, like bringing
Hmm.
people together. And
Yeah.
that's why our brand tagline is bridging media with community, because like whenever we do a project, yeah, we're going to be putting out content, we're going to be putting out merchandise, but the main driver is to like these events that we're going to be hosting and the screenings and bringing the people of all these different subcultures
Mhm.
and sub like niches, putting them in the same room and sharing what they like about film and what they like about the horror culture, and and that's where we also would want to bring in like a punk rock band that
Oh,
could like
sure.
an indie one that could also be part of this so that
That's
their fan
awesome.
base can come and join too. So it's just
Yeah.
about bringing these different people together. So yeah, at its core, that's really what it is.
Well, Jerry, so you might be, I'm sure you can relate to this, but the fact is that back a few years ago, I remember seeing online and hearing casting directors and agents going, "Yeah, it doesn't matter if you have social media. Who gives a shit about social media?" Well, now, correct me if I'm wrong, it seems to be the driving force in all of the stuff we're doing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it depends. I think it's certainly an asset to have. And if you're not participating, and I think that's why we created the Word Girls, honestly, I was like, we're just leaving money on the table without
Yeah,
trying,
yeah,
and I think like, and to that effect, doing the Horde Girls, which had just been this review, and then we've now turned it into a podcast, and now we're looking at like actual deals for series and for content that we're really excited to create. uh like it was the clearest like way that I think people have ever seen us online. And
right.
so I think a lot of people get confused, or actors are worried that it will harm them or it will do it be a disservice, but actually it's like if you find something that really showcases who you are, it starts to show versions of yourself where
Bingo.
you can like automatically be castable and seen in a way that I think is really exciting and that
Yeah.
you have control over, which feels really fun.
Well, you brought up a great point that I tell every actor that asks me my advice, and I say, well, here's the deal. When you audition, you're taking someone else's material, and they have a box that they're trying to fit you in. They're going, well, Jerry, I see you as the girl next door, and you're the blah, 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 blah. And you're like, yeah, but I'm really funny. Well, yeah, no, no, we want you to play the nurse, and you're just going to be blah, blah, blah. You're going to get killed. And you're like, yeah, but by actors taking control of that space and saying, yeah, but, and your content, and saying, but I'm this person, what you're doing is you're literally creating something that you literally know that I'm funny, I can do this. And so, how can you fail if you're putting together shit that makes you look great because it's your ball of wax, it's what you do best, and that's what you've done. And then by driving it home, by creating a podcast or a whatever, because then you get like-minded people going, all I know is I want to see Jerry get killed in a movie and have her come back to life and kill everybody else, and because you've built that. And that's what I think that the industry on all creative levels are missing right now, is that this is a blank slate. And if you're sitting there waiting for someone to hand you something, it's going to be a long, long wait. So, with that being said, you've already proven in this, even this short time of the interview, that you've gone after it. You've had to learn it. And by the way, I commend you, by the way, on your dialect of the conversation, your words, your language. I can tell you know exactly what you're doing, and you're a business person. And that's something that when I'm having a conversation with someone, I love people going, I love to dream, but do you know how to put it in place? And then right here in this group, this represents the whole crux of the fact that we're going to create something that will be beneficial to everybody. And going in and doing focus groups and doing the stuff that you're doing, I don't see how anybody could fail. I just want to see, while the punk band is playing, a half pipe, because I'm an old school skater, and it'd be awesome to get like people murdering people and skating
That'd be
in and
amazing.
drop in. Anyway, so with that being said, let's move on to the next part, and let's just talk about what do you see at this point? So everybody's always looking for investors. What are some of the key points that you would say at, make it simple, kiss method, keep it simple, stupid, about this? If someone was going to say, have the pitch deck, which by the way is like freaking Michelangelo. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I get it. You're spotlighting the right things. You're getting to the point. You're saying, here's where the rubber meets the road.
Mhm.
Tell us, what are some of the points?
On a pitch deck or just in
Yeah,
general?
I'm here. I got $1 million. I
Okay.
wish, uh, but I'm here to tell. It's a lottery ticket. And I hope it wins. But I have $1 million. I don't know what to do with
Billion.
it. Yeah. But tell me, what would be the points that you would drive home? And just remember that everybody's got a film and everybody's got an idea.
Yeah.
That's
And
and that's a great point. And everyone knows how to make content now, and it's so cheap to make content. You can spend $1 million very, very quickly.
yeah.
Hmm.
You could spend it all on one film
Yeah.
and then have it make $0, as
Yeah.
I've seen too many times in this industry.
Hmm.
I think really what you want to do is you want to get the most bang for your buck, and you really want to move culture. You really want to create IP, you want to create a fandom, you want to create a following around the material, and you want to then use that to grow a business around it. It's your
Hmm.
regular customers, it's your super engaged people. It is your brand advocates, it's your people who are going to be pushing your material out there to the world for free because they just love what you're doing,
Right.
just blowing it all on one crazy idea that some straight out of film school or even a veteran filmmaker wants to do.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the most important part is having that left brain, right brain. And it's really difficult to balance
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
But that's why
Great
like
point.
really important for us to kind of like regulate that with each other almost,
Sure.
you know, take turns being what each side of the brain.
Right. Right.
Because yeah, when you're pitching to an investor, they want to see the vision, they want to understand where you're going with it, what the story is, why you're telling the story. Everybody has an idea. You got to say why you want to create this, and you need to be able to be confident about that, and show that you have a vision. But they're also businessmen first and foremost, and you need to be a businessman yourself,
Business person.
a business person,
Yeah.
yes.
Right.
And in this day and age, like we all need to be our own brand essentially, you know,
Yeah.
and you need to build up that brand, and your project needs to be its own brand, and your studio needs to be its own brand. It's
Yeah.
a lot, but you really need to learn to balance both sides of being creative and being a business person.
Yeah, you put it in great, psychological or behavioral terms, which is, are you right brain or left lane brain? And I started out when I started out in the 80s, and I was definitely total right brain, going, "Yeah, I'm an actor, and I'm knowing how to do theater," and then I went, "I'm starving," so I wound up doing all of it. But the point is that you very quickly have to understand how to actually get to the actual dollar bill and
Mhm.
still keep your creativity and your artistic value in place. But with that being said, one thing I want to bring it back to Jerry on is that when we talk about content making and I talk about where everything is going, I cannot have the conversation without having a conversation about verticals. Hold on.
Mhm.
I'm pounding my head against the door. And it's funny because I know that before SAG, Screen Actors Guild, made the announcement saying, we're going to make them now a union. Good luck on that one. Yeah, okay. Anyway, everybody was saying, don't do them. They'll kill you. They're shitty. The scripts are, and they really are. I mean, I did one. I told my manager I am not going to. He goes, Disney's got an accelerator program and they want you. It's an offer only. They'll pay you this much money. I go, okay, I'm there. But and it came out, and it's like, it's it's cool. That's all I'll say.
Mhm.
And it's with Drama Box because they have a Disney accelerator. And I'm like, how many times can I say I'm proud of you and watch these people beat the shit out of my daughter in this thing? I mean, nonstop, 85 episodes. It's like, gee whiz. And I learned something really important about this that I already knew a lot. But what I learned was they're now saying when you go to the studios and you want to pitch us and you see those stupid ass Instagrams about this guy made $10 million dollars and he was just an influencer and he sold it to Netflix. Okay. But what they're saying is they want dumb ass scripts. All they want you to do is say a couple of lines and then keep saying it the next episode and the next episode. So, number one, I want to ask Jerry, what do you think of verticals? Number two, guys, I want you to tell me, what do you think? Why don't we make this into a vertical? So, you're first, Jerry.
Yeah, I guess I have mixed feelings about it. I certainly think that the content that's out there right now is not my favorite, and also it's filling a void, and it has obviously done very well, and I think that people have to work, and I think because they're showcasing that they can make money and they can be profitable in the way that we are talking about, right?
Yeah.
In this market and in this economy, that hopefully they will get better. And then on the flip side of that, I'll say we have started for the Horde Girls, we've started to have opportunities to pitch them, and that feels exciting to me in the way of like I can get a decent size budget, I
Hmm.
can make it female forward, I can
Yeah.
be in charge of the content, and I can start to pioneer some of our stories and bringing those to life and making them as good as possible
Hmm.
within the format that it
Confines.
needs
Yeah.
to be in, which is like, every episode has to end on a cliffhanger or
Yeah.
some kind of thing that's wanting you to continue. But I think that's an interesting challenge, and I feel excited at the opportunity to take the path that has been created, sort of like what you guys were doing with Hellburger, and show that you can make some stuff that's very good,
Yeah.
and you can make stuff that's really compelling, and the acting is good and the writing is good, and then have that as a showcase and a vehicle for larger projects, for funding for, feature films and other stuff that like I would also love to do. And I think it's just one more thing in the arsenal of like where we're at, and that
Right.
we can put in our toolbox of how we can get stuff made and how we can showcase ourselves and what we're capable of.
Yeah, I don't think that there's any dispute that it's a moneymaker because 86
Yeah.
or 87% of people are looking at stuff on their phones. I get it. Now they're saying that when you're looking on your phones, they're also saying that the demographic, which I believe might be yours, um, they're saying that not you for sure because you already have proved that you have depth, but when they're looking at these things they're going like they're also texting, and they're all, they're all closed caption because they know that they're going to get 2.5 seconds of most people's time. But the fact of the matter is that, look, I'll say this right out, the project I worked on, everybody in it was spot on. I was blown away that the crew that was all under probably 25 years old, the director, the cinematographer, young lady, they were all from like China. They were amazing. The fact that we did like 20 pages a day, and we were like, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And people are making shit up left and right. But the bottom line is that the formula seems to be working for them, which is awesome. But in the reality of the making of these things, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And what your approach is that ultimately everybody really wants to get to that. We know there is micro budget. We know that it's going to be like, bam, 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 bam. But making sure you get the right talent. I don't at all envy you guys and casting directors and agents to be able to cast anything nowadays because back in my day, get off my lawn. Back in my day, when we auditioned, it was maybe 100 people. Now there's 4,800 people a roll. And guess what? 42 of them have never acted before. And it's like, oh, but I'm on Instagram, I'm on TikTok. Well, that's awesome. And that's what they're filling the space with, which is fine because all it really is a product they're going, it's basically reality TV soap operas.
Hmm.
That's all it
Yeah,
is.
absolutely.
And so they're just looking for people to stab someone, hit someone, whatever, and then be love each other and then make out and then show me, and then move on to the next subject. So, with that being said, guys, what's your take?
I definitely feel like it's a transitionary thing, right? Like, when television first, oh, whoa,
That
hey,
was
guys, that's
well.
the deal.
Was I did this and it went. Ooh, I'm coming in close. Will, go ahead. Sorry.
Did not like that.
Um, I mean, when television first became a big thing, we saw a lot of these like telenovela, soap opera, like high
Yes.
drama things. And then from there, we started getting the sitcom and we started getting some other genres. And like, there was a space to experiment. And Julie and I are going to be taking some meetings later this week about some potential verticals. We think there is still space to
Wait, wait,
move.
wait, wait. If you do not cast us, we are gonna leave you in the dark. And I'm not playing some grandpa that goes, I'm over here.
No, no, no,
High
no.
action,
We're
high
going to do
action,
something
brother.
far more interesting.
Anyway,
Um,
go ahead.
but with regards to something like Hellburger, like the space for the movie, right? Like where does the movie live in this new culture?
Yeah.
And the movie it's still a major event driver. It still pulls people together. It still
Yeah.
forms that community in the way that verticals can never capture.
No.
The thing is, it is its own medium
Hmm.
at this point. I do believe that almost like animation is separate from film,
Absolutely,
which
yeah.
is separate from TV. Like
Yeah.
it is its own medium, and it has its space to live and to do its own thing. And I think it's going to grow and it's going to mature in different ways, and we're going to see different kinds of series and maybe even like movies done vertically. But I do think just like that is its own medium, film and feature films are its own thing that like going to the movies is just there's nothing else like it,
Right.
and bringing people together in one room to watch something together and that shared experience, there's just nothing like it. So I
Yeah.
think the format of Hellburger very much and what the content and everything that Hellburger is meant to be seen like in a theater, in a group setting, having
Yeah.
events, having these kinds of things. I do think that's the end goal for Hellburger.
Then I have to tell you, don't talk to Netflix because apparently with this new buy of Warner
Oh
Brothers,
yeah,
everybody's afraid they don't want anybody to leave home.
yeah.
And yeah, I get it. But, so there's an interesting thing here, I think, that might be happening with the verticals. I always try to figure out the most positive thing as well, because what can we do in this industry where they keep telling us we're a piece of garbage and they don't cast us? It's your fault. Anyway, but the point is that the vertical space is really just a sort of a social experiment. It's like, okay, if everybody's staring at their phones, I call it hooked on iPhonics, and all you're doing is staring at your phone all the time, then why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? Bring it to them. So maybe there are, and we talked about this, maybe there are some really awesome teaser things that we can do with Hellburger
Oh
that
yeah.
will, God, that is so weird that it keeps zooming in. Am I doing something? Come back, go with me, go with me. One, two, three. No, anyway. Um, but there are a lot of opportunities to be able to take that because they're now saying do it. And before, when you would make a film, you had to fit into the confines of a structure of what they expect you to do, and you did it. But now, if they're saying that, look, if everybody's staring at their phone the right way, like this, then why are you not giving them this? And they've given the license now out to everybody going, hey, sky's the limit. What do you want to do with this? How do you want to do it? How do you want to approach it? I mean, Jerry, your great example is that I watched your stuff. By the way, the whole Blue Week thing was a little disturbing for me at first, but yeah, she knows what I'm talking about. By the way, what is your Instagram and TikTok?
It's at Jerry Courtney Austin, and then the Horde Girls is at the Horde Girls. And if you want to know what the blue wig is, that is at the Twin Flame Show, which is a cosmic comedy variety show. And this one will have an opening video with Hanukkah bushes.
Oh, that's just fantastic. And so when you say variety, you mean you let people come on and like do like balloon animals and stuff?
Sure, if that's part of the act that we've booked, but no, generally we have, so I perform with my co-host. We perform every time a new piece, and then we bring on drag performers, Ariel, Cirque. We have other stand-ups. We've had big names like Reggie Watts, Maria Bamford, Melissa Villaseñor. So it's really like magic. We've had like all different types of performances, and
Okay,
then
so I
there's a theme every time. So
Okay, so
yeah,
I have to tell you because I
yeah.
don't know what you know, but I have two Guinness World Records. One, I'm one of the top trick roper, gun spinner, whip artist performers. I worked with Cirque du Soleil for
Whoa.
4 years. I'm a balloon artist. I'm a professional magician of 40 years. I have more skills than Black and Decker. So, and that's one of the things I talk to actors about all the time. They go, "How can I get?" I go, "Skills." Skills, skills, skills. If you
Yeah.
have skills, I mean, I literally do all this stuff, and that's what I do. I just got back from Texas. I did a big old, thing for some oil company, and I emceed it. But I do all of my juggling and
Nice.
fire. I'm a fire performer, so a little bit
Oh
of.
yeah. Oh, that's on my list of to do
I
and
got
to
it. I
learn.
can
Yeah.
spin a Kevlar rope. That's what I did
That's
in Cirque
awesome.
du Soleil. 2 shows a night, 5 days a week. But okay,
Wow.
so again, the thing is that whether you're a performer or you're the people putting the performance in front of people, going, "Watch me," you really should have as many things in your bag of tricks as you can. And I just want to say before we close this out that all of you, thank you very much for coming on the show because I really really don't like to just interview flat people that go, I just want to be a star. Yeah, we all do. Okay, stand in line. But if you have a way and you're showing the way, then I think you're valid, because otherwise the rest of it is just fucking noise. And the problem with noise is that everybody in this day and age, you know how we used to say for guys, you'd say shiny objects or squirrel, and now it's just scroll, scroll, scroll. So how do you stop the attention, get people to hang out with you, and hang out in your own little area? I think that Hellberger and Jerry and myself and all of us will definitely bring that to you. Guys, I want to ask you, is there any last thing that you want to bring up that we can talk about, or any other objects that you want to throw in front of us?
Um,
I don't know. Jerry, any ideas?
The only thing I was going to add to what you guys were saying is about, and I know your podcast and a lot of the things you're focusing on, Will, is around AI and the screen time that we've been talking about. But I think there will be even more emphasis on being in person and like real face to face experiences that move and impact and change the body, because I just think we're going to be craving that type of intimacy and connection and relationship. And um, the horror community in general is just like so warm and so welcoming,
Oh
and
yeah.
they show up like when they like something. I think Terrifier is such a great example of, small budgets, but like the horror community rallying around and
Yeah.
wanting to come and join and talk about it and dress up and commune around these like really fun, dark, gross, bloody things. And so I just think like you can't undervalue how much people actually want that. And no matter how big, company is and capitalism wants to tell you that it's all about the bottom line and it's all about like making money, it is. And that's just like such an integral, important piece of it. And I think the more we can tap into that while also, calming folks who obviously want to make money and doing that bottom line, like that's the future of entertainment. That's the future of like keeping creativity and that sort of connective tissue alive, to me
Uh,
at least.
well, when you said blood, guts, gore, and everything, I like, are we talking about politics now? I'm sorry.
I
Um,
mean, every day, right?
Yeah. Hello. But no, no, no. I totally agree with you. I had my partner and I have a partner in Boston, and he has a whole film festival and creators space, and we have like 60,000 members on that, and we have a couple of YouTube channels we used to do, and they were specifically horror. And we had like 20 million views. I've got a somewhere around here a silver, YouTube thing or whatever, saying how we had over 100,000 people, and and we saw that because we did mystery, and then we did that, and we did horror, and it's like that shit went through the roof because we do realize that the genre of horror. I mean, think about it. I mean, look at if you look. I'm a little older than everybody together collectively, I think, but the bottom line is that back in the day when I was a kid in the 70s and 80s, 70s. That's first of all, 80s is like, can you not say that most of the really great films came out in the 80s that were horror films? And in the 70s, we have, and I mentioned this to you guys, that there's these really bizarre cult films that were always like some cult. They were in a cave in New Mexico and they were sacrificing people. That shit was fucking scary. And I remember looking as a kid, and we went to a drive-in movie in a station wagon. I'm like, I'm never going to be the same. There was one that was like a hotel, and people were just, not a hotel, but a hospital. And I was so affected by these. To this date, if you look up 70s horror films, you will see the weirdest stuff you've ever seen. You know people are on acid and they made these, but they were freaking scary. And that's the reason why the horror genre is so popular, is that it comes to this thing that gets people to go, I'm so scared, but I want to see what happens. I'm so scared, but oh God, I wish I was there. You're right. It's like being D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, or whatever. A reenactor in Civil War. They're so committed that what it builds is what Hollywood really wants now, and that's called community.
Yeah,
Yes.
They
exactly.
are
Mhm.
They are clamoring, and that's the reason why what we're all doing is so vitally important to the industry. Without us, kiss our asses. There's nothing you can do because you can make all the Avenger movies you want. But the fact is that you can make one for $4 and you'll get more people to watch it if you build a community first. You build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I think Jerry really
Yeah.
captured a lot of that, especially with like people want the events and the horror audience draws people
Yeah,
out. I think what we all here want to do is we want to make content that electrifies. It doesn't just pacify. I
yeah.
think that's what we do
Great.
with the project
That's a
here.
great way of putting it. Electrify, not pacify, because the day and age of people sitting around going, well, I'm going to watch. They're not. And if you don't keep their attention, look at the metrics. They're going
Yeah.
to go bye bye, and you're
Yeah.
going to get four people, and you're going to go, why aren't we making money? Well, you didn't do your research. You didn't
Yeah.
craft it right. And I hate to say this, but it's more clinical based upon the notes you sent us before the show. It's
Uh-huh.
more clinical than it is, unfortunately, creative in most spaces because you have to hit the marks before
Yeah.
they show up. Again, if you build it, they will come. But the problem is that if you're out there trying to shoot for everybody loving you, you got a problem. You
No,
got to
Yeah.
make sure you got the right people.
Yeah.
definitely. And
Yeah.
you need to know your audience and you need to know who you're making this content for.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, for anyone out there, like if you're a filmmaker or a performer or a investor looking to produce like content, you have to know exactly what your demographic is and
Yes.
really make the content for them, and not just like, oh, women 18 to 35 with like some men. No, no, you need to know their psychological
You
profile,
do.
know
Yeah.
exactly how they live and breathe and talk and congregate. You
Yeah,
really,
Yeah.
that's the number one thing they teach you with pitching is like know your audience, know your target
Yeah.
demographic. Like that's everywhere and throughout every industry,
Well,
not
of
just
course
film.
it is, because otherwise, I mean, you can spend $100,000 or even $100 on AdWords and go, I want everybody to see me. And then you go, oh, well, we got a lot of people, but no one clicked through. The reason
Yeah.
why no one clicked through is that you weren't addressing their pain and
hmm
what they want to see and what they want to do. But when you do that, then they tell someone, that whole tenfold thing. So bottom line is that you're all putting this together right. Let's end with Jerry again. Instagram, website, whatever. Throw it down. It's gonna be on the lower third anyway. But tell us again.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube at Jerry Courtney Austin, at the Horrored Girls, and at Twin Flame Show.
Awesome. Guys, where can we find
Yeah.
you? If people are interested, I definitely will. In the information below, you'll see that I'll put everything organized in there. Thank you, ChatGPT. And we'll put it together. So tell us where to find you other than
Yeah.
the local concert or mechanical bull at the bar.
My personal account is Julian V Mercado on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. I don't really make content like that, but you can find us on at Slabtown Studios.
yeah. And then you can find my personal, again, Instagram, TikTok, all the same. Jewel.Darian.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I'm just going to close it out. Hang with me a second. But hey, I'm Will Roberts, of course, Lights, Camera, AI. Check it out. A lot of times I'll talk about in the show about the AI stuff. Um, Again, there's a big fear about that as well, and I get it, but I'm just going to throw this out to you is that when you think about those things and use them for your own advantage, and they're not stealing your content and doing other fun stuff, you can take your film potentially or your project and take it from looking like it's $10 to $1 million film like, I don't know, Oppenheimer. You never know. But the point is, utilize this stuff because I've always looked for hacks. And I'm going to leave you with this thought. You have to find out all the information you can about what you're doing. Don't just be a one trick pony going, I have something that everybody wants, because everybody has something everybody wants and everybody's biting for everybody's attention. But what the fact is that, again, like I said, people are basically hooked on iPhonics, scroll, scroll, scroll. The problem is that how do you capture people? You capture people by knowing your audience. You capture people by knowing how to attach yourself to their love and passion because you live it. You're not just pushing numbers and pushing ideas, but you're engaging, as Jerry has said, the guys have said. So I say to you, if you're not prepared to do the homework, I hate to say this, get the fuck out of the industry because it's already cluttered already. And I love the fact that everybody believes that they have the answer, but get the information so that way when you put it together, it makes dollars and cents. And by the way, make sure you hire a camera crew like I have for this thing that keeps going in and out. Thanks for coming on the show, you all. I appreciate you. I'm Will Roberts. Check it out on Instagram. I am, of course, lights camera underscore AI or Will Roberts official. We'll see you next time and have a great day. Bye bye.